Hey patrons, how's it going? Hope everything's going well. I'm out here in the desert of Utah, a little place called Moab, out here doing some off-roading, getting dirty, getting muddy. Anyway, I just wanted to throw a Patreon video on, though. I know I haven't posted in a while. I've been out kind of in the wilderness doing primitive camping out here, and there's like no reception, but tonight we're going to go into town and I'll upload this video tonight when we get actual internet reception in town. None out here, or it's like super duper weak. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Wanted to, I've been getting messages and I've been seeing stuff on Facebook about the whole incident that happened for the NBRSA Short Range Nationals in Arizona some months back. And basically, I've spoken to already, I think, about 6 people who were there. I've spoken to other people that have that were there but didn't shoot Unlimited, and then I spoke to 6 people that actually shot the Unlimited. And at this point, assuming what they're telling me is accurate, which they all pretty much had the same story. So it sounds like, and these aren't people that necessarily associate with each other at matches too, by the way. So I wasn't trying to find out what, this group thinks or that group thinks. I contacted people individually that, may not really associate much at all, if at all. And they all pretty much said the same thing, that, when it came to shooting the Unlimited class, which if you've ever shot Short Range Bench Rest Unlimited, they're shooting rail guns. I don't know if you've ever seen one, shot one. Just briefly, they're really heavy. I mean, the whole case in point here with this thing is that they're extremely heavy. They're not for... basically when I go to a match, they're shooting Unlimited, I offer to sort of haul people's rail guns. If I notice someone's wearing a back brace, or they're old, or they have an injury, or if they're in a wheelchair or whatever, because it's like these things are really heavy. And so basically, when it came to, getting everything set up for the match and getting it going, Lou Murdica basically said, we don't need to do what has traditionally been done at the Nationals. We don't need to rotate benches after every single match, after every single like 5 or 10 shot group. He said we have enough people here with the number of benches that we have, where we can rotate them every other 5 or 10 shot group, and they'll still be able to get to every single section of the range. Because the intent of a rule that tells you to rotate benches is to make sure that each shooter shoots in different areas of the range, so that they're all kind of exposed to similar conditions. It sucks if you're shooting a match, and I've shot these matches, these kind of like 1-day matches where you get, a bench, and that's your bench for the day, and it's like the worst bench, and so I get it. Obviously the intent of a rule like that is to rotate, and that makes perfect sense. And the way the rule was written, and I read the rule book, by the way, it did say, rotate after every event. It did not say to rotate after every match. So Lou was looking at that and saying, well, it doesn't say every match. We could still meet the intent of the rule, which, by the way, I write rules, I write policies. I'm the keeper of all the state policies for the forensic mental health system. I know exactly what guidelines are, policies are, procedures, blah, blah, blah. I know when you write a rule, do you write one just to sort of share the intent and then, make sure people are following the intent of the rule? Or do you need to write one that is extremely specific and literally tell people, like almost procedurally, like you have to do this? The way I read that, it didn't say you have to do it after every match. It allowed, in my view, in rule writing and things that I've done in that nature, to allow you to have some variance, in which case I believe that what Lou was saying in terms of the variance was very fair. I think you met the intent of the rule, and you're attempting to sort of keep all these, we have a lot of elderly BR shooters that shoot short range. His intent was dual. 1, preserve the rule, and 2, make sure that, he's not getting these older people to have to haul this real heavy equipment, with with a lot of frequency. He wanted to reduce that frequency. Oh, and by the way, someone at that match actually fell and broke bones. So kind of case in point there that these people are elderly and they are frail. I mean, if you accidentally fall and break a bone, yeah, you are frail. I've fallen a few times. I've never broken a bone doing that. But at some point in my life I will, because I will get old and my bones will get frail. And so anyway, case in point, that happened actually at that match. So, so he's thinking, no, we have to reduce the probability of this happening. Whenever someone picks up something heavy, they're hauling it, it increases the potential for injury. So I thought, that is a great safety consideration. I certainly, I'm a safety first kind of person. I don't want people breaking bones. I don't want to call an ambulance to a match. It is not, or have to drive someone to an ER or urgent care during a match. That is not what you want. I mean, I just don't have any other way to say it. So anyway, and what ended up happening was there was a lot, I guess there was pre-voting on this idea or whatever. And the president of the NBRSA essentially was like, man, the NBRSA board is very rigid. They're essentially just kind of saying, oh no, this is the way we've always done it. So this is the way we're going to do it. And if he varies from that, then it's not a real national match and we're going to disqualify the unlimited or whatever. And so anyway, that to me tells me right there, yeah, they don't care about the intent of the rule. All they cared really about, or they don't care about the safety of the shooters either. What they really cared about was kind of doing it the way it's always been done, right? And they had no real rationale to sort of state it that way. I mean, it's like we have safety as a concern also, and this idea here of rotating every other bench actually meets both intents. So, why not do it? Whereas, the way you've been always doing it is increasing the likelihood of injuring the shooters. So anyway, I thought it was a great idea. Lou, if you know Lou, he's an extremely generous guy, and he's all about safety. He's been out there in Arizona. He moved. He has a place in Arizona and another one still 5 minutes away from my mom in the desert in California. But he's been out in Arizona a lot lately. He's been doing things like rebuilding, target frames and everything so that they're safer, they're lighter. He's all about safety. He's all about making sure people end the match without broken bones. So, I mean, he's an extremely wonderful person. If I were in leadership in the NBRSA or on the board, I'd be writing him a letter of commendation saying, thank you so much for kind of giving us a win-win in this situation where, you're lessening the probability of injury while also meeting the intent of the rule. That's great thinking. We want to showcase you in our magazine to show what win-win thinking looks like at the local match level, where we want to empower our match directors to make decisions like this that, again, preserve the intent of the rule and keep our shooters safe. Well, what ended up happening was Lou was issued a letter basically saying you're now banned from the NBRSA, and you're banned for life. You don't have any ability to reapply. I don't know what the exact wording was, but you're a nuisance to the NBRA is kind of basically what it said. And then subsequently, Mike Sosenko, who's the regional director of that region, the Southwest region for the NBRSA, I guess was dismissed. He was told by the NBRSA, get lost. So Mike now, who is Lou's gunsmith and, knows Lou really well and all that, Mike was told to take a walk. And then to add on top of that, the NBRSA sent a letter to the range, which is, that range is a really nice range. You want to do everything you can to preserve your ability to sanction matches there because you get a lot of people showing up. It's a great event. You have, people from all over the Midwest, coming out there, California, and of course, obviously the Arizona locals and whatnot, Texas, lots of people from, it's a huge draw at that range. Well, guess what? The NBRSA said, we're not doing any more matches at that range. So, anyway, I just, after seeing all this stuff the other day and getting a bunch of messages, I'm driving into town from, from Moab the other day, and all of a sudden when I get reception, my phone just lights up. I'm getting texts, I'm getting this, that, and basically, there you go. That's my assessment of the situation. I'm not really going to stick around with the NBRSA. I believe that leadership that dismisses safety concerns and doesn't really understand what, the intent of rules are, and all that kind of stuff. I don't like hanging out with those kind of people. I'm not, I've seen the battered wife syndrome, the wife getting abused and then hoping that things will get better. And, the guy comes home with flowers. Here you go, honey. Oh, great. Everything's good. And then he abuses her again. I'm seeing this cycle going on here, and I'm not part of that cycle. I immediately withdraw. I'm not going into that. But so anyway, yeah, that's the scoop. That's my take on it. Again, have I thoroughly investigated this and assessed every single, fact, or interviewed people, under threat of perjury? No, but this is just what, after reading the rule book, after talking to several people that were there, after seeing all the actions that were taken against, Lou, Mike, and the range itself. Wow, I don't know what to say. So, I'll be going to the people that I'm the match director at my range, but I still have to convince, certain people who organize the matches and whatnot, and who are very entrenched in the NBRSA. It's going to take a minute for me to, say my story and say what I think of the whole situation, and ask them to, let's go ahead and maneuver and pivot and go with some other organization. I have also considered starting my own, but that's kind of on freeze right now. I got a few things to do before I do that. But anyway, there you go. Sorry for the long-winded thing, but just wanted to throw something out there. I'll probably be back in action in a few days when I get back from Moab. So, all right, y'all, shoot small. Hope everything goes well for you.